ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नमः श्री शंकरानंद नमः श्री शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। Here in the example of the clay in the pot, it is shown how the pot is mithya, is unreal, and the clay is satyam, or it is real. Three reasons were given why a pot is said to be unreal or mithya. Nistatvam, so nistatvatvat, vinashitvat, vacharambhana namatah. Three reasons. That there is nistatvatvam. Number one, that the pot, what we call pot, does not have any substantiality, doesn't have any tangibility or substantiality. There is no substance or truth in the pot. Because the substance that is lying in front of us is clay. And therefore, what is pot? That form is called pot. And that form doesn't have any tangibility or substantiality. Vinashitvat, that form pot also is destructible. When it breaks, there is no more pot. Vacharambhana namatah. And what is it actually? What exactly is a pot? Because what you see there is clay alone. What you touch also is clay. What you lift also is clay. And whatever there is clay alone. So what is this pot? Nothing more than a notion in our name. Thus, a certain idea is superimposed upon the clay, and that superimposition is named pot. Therefore, vacharambhana namatah. This object pot is no more than the name pot, which is the name that is produced by the speech, that's all. Vagindriyajanya shabdamatratmakatvat. This word pot is something that is uttered by the organ of speech. And that is the reality, that much is the reality of that object pot. As we said, for the object called clay, there is a substance there. But what is the substance corresponding to the object pot? Nothing. The only substance is there is just a name pot. That's the only substance that is there. The real substance is clay. And therefore, for three reasons we say that the pot is unreal. And why do you say that the clay is real? Jaktakale tatah purvam urdhumapi ekarubhag. See, the clay is there at the time when the pot is. Tatah purvam, the clay was even before the pot was created. Tatah urdhumapi, and the clay is even when the pot is broken. Thus, the clay is when the pot is. The clay was even before the creation of pot, and the clay remains even after the destruction of the pot. Ekarubhag. Clay persists with the same characteristic, with the same properties, with the same nature. Satatvam. So then, also is satatvam. Therefore, second thing is, clay is the substantiality. Avinasham cha. And that the clay is indestructible. So since it is there before, now and later, since clay is imperishable, and since clay is a real substance, therefore we say that the clay is real and the pot is unreal. This is extremely important. As we said, this is Vedanta. Real and unreal, Satya and Mithya. And this is what Vedanta teaches us. As we said, this illustration of the clay and pot is to be stretched to or extended to Brahma and Jagat, where with reference to creation, then this whole creation is comparable to part, meaning name and form. And what's the substance in the creation? Brahma, Asti, Bhati and Priyam. That is substance. And the name and form with every substance is superimposition, and this is the teaching that Vedanta gives. That also means that everything is Brahma. Everything is clay, you can say. One way, on one hand you can say the clay is real, pot is unreal. You can also say everything is clay alone. See 500 parts, you can say everything is clay alone. Because are you separating now the two things, namely Satya and Mithya, or real and unreal? Not really. Unreal doesn't have a real existence. What there is real alone, and therefore what there is clay. And therefore the teaching also is there. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Whatever there is Brahma alone. So that's the ultimate thing. In the beginning we say, we categorize as real and unreal. Ultimately we say that everything is Brahma alone. Now some other aspects of this understanding are explored. That you say that what you call pot is something that is superimposed upon the clay. Then, and the clay is real and the pot is unreal, okay. Then when we know that the pot to be unreal, then should not the pot disappear from sight? Just as in the rope snake example, when the snake is known as unreal or mithya, the snake disappears from the sight. And so also in this clay pot illustration, when the pot is known as mithya, shouldn't the pot disappear from sight? How come it doesn't happen? Or you can put it this way. If you say that the pot is unreal or mithya, then it will disappear like the snake disappears. Then we say yes, it disappears. We say that yes, the pot disappears. In what way does the pot disappear? Nivritta eva yasmate tat satyatva matir gata. Te tat satyatva matihi gata. Inasmuch as now when you understand the nature of this pot, that is unreal, this satyatva matihi, meaning that notion of reality which obtained with reference to pot is no more there. So now we realize, all there is clay alone. And therefore, pot is something that is mithya or unreal. And therefore, in the wake of this understanding of knowledge, what gets dismissed or what gets dispelled is the notion of reality which one entertained with reference to pot. Idrung nivrittirevatra bodhaja natu abhasanam. We say that the nivritti or disappearance in this case is of the nature of knowledge. So disappearance is the disappearance of the notion of reality which is brought about by knowledge. Natu abhasanam. It is not that the pot really disappears from the sight. In fact, one would even say that where is the pot? Where does it appear in the first place? So you say that the pot will disappear from the sight if you know that the pot is unreal. So where does it appear in the first place? Where is pot? Well, here is pot. I see only clay. Where do you see pot? So Swami always gives this famous, he used to formerly always carry a chain with him and always give the example. Now he carries, I think, this the cup, the, what do you call it? The styrofoam cup. That's what he has. Formerly, he used to carry a chain, specially carry a chain. And then he would show it. It's all right. What is this? One says, this is chain. But someone from a village comes along who has never seen a chain and he says, well, this is gold. So no, this is chain. Yeah, but where is chain? This is chain. Why? What is on the top? Is it called chain? Well, that's gold. What is at the bottom? Is it chain? That also is gold. What is on the side? Is it chain? Well, that also is gold. So where is chain? So for the one who has never seen the chain, or who doesn't have this concept of chain, he looks upon this object only as gold. And therefore the one who superimposed the notion of chain, that alone, that person looks upon this object as chain, someone else looks upon as gold. And therefore someone can say, where is the chain in the first place? So if somebody says, if you know the chain is mithya, it will disappear. Yes, it disappears because it is not there to begin with. And therefore there is no chain. That also we can say. Or if you say that a given form is chain, fine, we know that the form is just a projection and the substance there is gold alone. In that sense, the notion of reality given to the chain, that completely disappears. And that, according to us, is a disappearance, and the chain or the form does not disappear in spite of knowing it as mithya. But how come? Why does it not disappear? How come the rope snake, the snake disappears altogether? And how come the pot does not disappear in spite of knowing its unreality? That was said that there are two kinds of superimpositions. One is sopadika, other is nirupadika. One is with adjunct, other is without the adjunct. In the sense that what we call the mirage water, for example, or a pot, is a superimposition which involves a certain factor other than the perceiver. Thus, the factor is that the clay was taken by the pot maker and was worked upon to create the pot, and therefore, that factor being there, the clay does not disappear the pot does not disappear by its rupa or by its swarupa or by its nature, just the reality disappears. In case of rope snake, however, no factor other than the perceiver was involved, and therefore that no upadhi or other factor was involved in creation of a snake, and therefore the snake disappears completely. So there are two kinds of bhrama or two kinds of delusions. One delusion which is purely subjective, in which the object of delusion completely disappears when we come to know the truth of the substratum. In the other case, such as mirage water, where factors other than the perceiver are also involved in that appearance, like the rays of sun in case of mirage water, that appearance persists in spite of knowing the unreality of mirage water. But in any case, what is important is not really the disappearance of the thing. What is important is dispelling of the notion of the reality. Because it is a notion of reality which is samsara and not the existence of the world. It is not that because the world is, or because the body is, or because the things are, that there is samsara. There is not samsara. Samsara is taking the body to be self, or samsara is taking the world to be real or permanent. That is what the problem is. So problems are in the notion, those notions create all the problems. If those notions go, then there are no problems. And then it was said in verse 47, in answer to the question, where do you find, for example, that the delusion or the bhrama, the delusion does not disappear from the side in spite of knowing it as delusion? Where did we see that? Say it as verse 47, Umanadho mukho nire bhatopyasti navastutaha. That there is a man standing on the shore of a lake, and there is a real man there, but we see in water his reflection, which is the inverse reflection. Na vastutaha asti. Even though that inverted man appears there, he is not there in reality. Tatasthamartyavat tasmin naivastha kasyachit kvachida. But everyone who sees the man standing there on the shore, he knows that to be real and the reflection to be unreal. So no one ever takes the reflection to be real. Whether it doesn't require great intelligence to know that is not a real man. Even fool also will not take that reflection to be real. Because even a fool also has an opportunity, a stupid person also has an opportunity to see his reflection in the mirror. So at least that much knowledge everybody has, that what appears in the mirror is unreal. All people may have seen the reflections in water also, and therefore they know the reflection is unreal. So even a stupid person, meaning the person who doesn't have the benefit of learning of the scriptures, even that fellow also will not take the reflection as real. And thus the reality of the reflection is not there, even though the reflection continues to appear, continues to be perceived. Okay, now continuing the discussion, before the verse 48 it is said, Nanu aropitasya asatyatva jnanamatrat no purushada siddhihiti. It's all right. But is that all that is to be done? Aropitasya asatyatva jnanamatrat. That what is superimposed is unreal. If you know that much, does it mean that you attain moksha? You mean that you attain moksha, the purushārtha means the ultimate end in life you attain, simply by knowing that what is superimposed is unreal, that's all. Now, you can't get moksha simply by that, knowing that the name and form is unreal. By that you can't gain moksha. Says verse 48, the question is answered here. Idrug bodhe pumarthatvam matamadvaitavadinam mridrupasya parityagad vivartatvam ghate sthidam. Idrugbodhe pumarsatvam matam advaitavadinam. Advaitavadinam, for the followers of Advaita, for the followers of the principle of non-duality. Idrugbodhe pumarsatvam, their opinion is that this much knowledge of the reality of the substratum and the unreality of the superimposition, this much knowledge is pumarsatvam, is a means for the ultimate purushartha. Brahma satyam jagan mithya. That Brahma, the adhisthānam substratum, is real, and Jagat, the creation, the names and forms, are unreal. That's all that is required to be known. Advaitavade atmanandadriktasya sarvasya mithyatvanasya sati advitiya anandabhivyakti lakshanah purushāda siddhati abhiprāyah. According to the Advaita, that anything that is other than Ananda is mithya. Everything other than Ananda or Asti Bhadi Priyam or Satchidananda or Atma is mithya, unreal. Iti nische, when this conviction arises, this conviction of my own arises, that everything that is other than Ananda or fullness or completeness or limitlessness is mithya or unreal, Advitiya Ananda Abhivyakti Lakshana, then what happens? Advitiya Ananda Abhivyaktihi. There occurs a manifestation of Ananda or fullness or happiness, the Advitiya, non-dual. The Ananda that is non-dual becomes manifest merely by knowing the unreality of everything other than Ananda. That's very interesting. That means, what is it that veils the Ananda? See, Ananda is the nature of is a self, and it is self-effulgent. It's not that you have to create Ananda, because self is always there. It is ever there, and it ever shines also. Then what needs to be done? To know the self as Ananda. Even though self is Ananda or full, I do not know it as such. I know it as limited or incomplete. And what is it that obstructs that knowledge? What obstructs the knowledge that the self is complete? The notion that self is incomplete. And so the truth is obstructed really by what we call the notions, superimposition, that's all. What is lying in front of me is a rope, but then what obstructs the rope from my sight? The notion that this is snake. It is not anything else that hides the rope from my sight. The notion or my conclusion that this is the snake, this is a snake, it is that conclusion that really veils the rope from my perception. This is the Vedantic diagnosis of the whole situation. And so also, what prevents the manifestation of my true nature? Just my notion that I am ego or I am limited, I am small. And why does that notion arise? On account of the notion that this body is a self, or the upadhi of the personality is a self. It is that notion that just veils the true nature of myself. And therefore, when that notion goes, the Ananda which is self-effulgent just becomes evident. It doesn't get created, it just becomes evident. It becomes manifest. So according to Advaita Vedanta, Vedanta or Advaita Vedanta, because there are other Vedanta also, meaning the Upanishads the other teachers may have different views about this, but according to Advaita Vedanta, meaning according to this perception of life, that there is only one truth, non-dual, there is nothing but truth. It is that conviction which makes the truth evident, which is because it is the very self. And as long as I think that there is a self and there is something other than the self, as long as the duality is taken to be real, so long the true nature of my own self is veiled, or I am deprived of the benefit of what I am, on account of imposing the ideas of smallness upon myself, which imposition occurs on account of taking this body or the personality as real. So what is unreal is known as unreal, what is real is known as real. That's all, according to Vedanta, is enough for the manifestation of Ananda, which is not only my nature, which is nature of everything. Not only I alone am Ananda, everything is Ananda. Because that alone is, when we say that Ananda is Brahma and is non-dual, that means that's all there is. It's not that I am Ananda and then the world is miserable. That also is not so. Everything is Ananda alone, because I is not confined to this body or to any individuality. That is all there is. So when this conviction arises, it is not that Ananda has to be created. Ananda is recognized or discovered. So it is something to be recognized, is to be something understood rather than something to be created. As Swami always likes to say, you don't have to believe in God. God is not to be believed in, God is to be understood. Because whatever there is God. But that is to be understood. In what way is it so? That God is abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. He is the material and efficient cause. He is a creator as well as a creation. And therefore whatever there is God alone. But that has to be understood. So God is to be understood rather than just believed. Similarly also, Ananda is to be understood rather than to be believed. If I have a certain imagination about what Ananda is, then I always try to construct things according to my imagination. So each one of us has an idea of what happiness is or what fullness is. And we always have a picture about fullness. That if everything is there, if I am living in a nice cottage, in the woods, on the bank of a river, on the slope of a hill, maybe, and thus I imagine some ideal atmosphere. Everybody may have their own imaginations. The outdoor man imagines it in one way, the indoor man may imagine it in a different way, the athletic person may imagine it in one way, the poet may have imagination. Everybody has their own imagination of what that perfection is. But we always have a picture about perfection. We associate it with the stars and forests and the rivers and mountains and people and environment and whatever it is. Or temples or holy places or whatever. So we always associate happiness with a given atmosphere, with a given picture. That which is without any attributes, we try to always construct a picture about it and impose attributes on them. And thus we are always in search for that ideal thing. We are always trying to create around ourselves some ideal. Or we are trying to create around the world around ourselves according to the ideal that we have in our mind. So don't try to create anything, because every creation is a projection. Every creation is a projection. And therefore, if you try to create an ideal situation around yourself, you are just projecting. Because what there is Ananda. You try to modify what there is, meaning that already there is a notion in your mind that what there is not Ananda. And therefore, you want to deny what there is and you want to create something else. Already a denial. So therefore, the very desire for change is a denial of what is. Desire for change, desire to change the world or desire to change myself, desire to bring about any change is nothing but a denial of what there is. Unless I deny what there is, I cannot desire to make things different from what they are. Isn't that so? The moment I desire something which is not there, which means I am denying what is there. Behind the desire, there is a conclusion on my part that if a thing is modified in a certain way, it's like this. If I place it this way, I think that's beautiful. That means I don't think that this is beautiful. So my failure to appreciate the beauty in this way alone will make me to place it in this way or some other way. And that's all we try to do all along in our life. Which is okay, I mean it may have some aesthetic value, we are not denying the aesthetic values of life, etc. All we are saying is the notion that what there is not perfect, and that by doing something with it, that things will become perfect. The perfect is that which can never be created, and all along we are trying to create it. What a struggle. We are trying to accomplish the impossible. Whereas what is already accomplished is denied, and we are trying to accomplish the impossible. So Vedanta is very simple, very simple. Why do we complicate it? Very simple. What there is fine. what there is fine, is simple and beautiful. You see, when we discuss all these prakriyas, all this, it looks like very complicated. And you can make it so complicated that, there are such complicated texts that your head will reel, So what? In fact, things are very, truth has to be simple. It can't be complicated. Since our life has become so complicated, therefore the explanation of truth becomes very complicated, But in fact, it is very simple. How simpler can it be than saying that what is fine. What is it, as it is, however it is fine. Is Brahman. And it is a matter of seeing this fact, not creating it, matter of seeing it. And how do we see it? By dropping all the notions that we have of what is meant by fine. Once we give up the notions, so notions of reality given to what is unreal, and therefore a denial of what is real, that's all that is sought for. Idrugbodhe pumarthatvam matam advaitavadinam. As far as the Advaitavadins are concerned, this much knowledge alone is means for purushartha or moksha. And therefore, this analysis is what we are doing because it provides us what we need. Alright, now again, connecting the discussion back to what was there in the beginning, that there are three kinds, the material cause of three kinds, parinami, arambha and vivarta. Parinami, where the material cause undergoes a change, like milk undergoes a change to become the curd, this is called parinama or vikara or transformation. Or when something that is not there so far, that is created. This is the view of the Vaisheshikas and the Naiyayikas, that a non-existent effect is created from a cause. Thus when they will say that a pot that was non-existent has been created from clay, this is what they call arambhavada. And third is vivarta upadana karanam, wherein what we call the effect is a superimposition upon the cause, or what we call the effect is the cause appearing in a different way. So effect is just an appearance, and that there is no real transformation in the cause. This is the vivartavada. And now the author takes up that discussion here to clarify what kind of a cause is clay with reference to pot. Clay, is it the parinami, meaning it doesn't undergo transformation? Is it arambha, meaning it's something that gives rise to a new thing, namely pot? Or is it vivarta? And so that is what says Nanu ghatasya mrud vivartatve siddhe tad jnanat ghata satyatva buddhi nivartate. All right, you convinced us that by knowing the pot is unreal and the clay is real, meaning by knowing the unreal is unreal and real is real, that's all that is needed in order to attain the goal of life. And therefore we discussed the illustration of the clay and the pot, and we have shown that the pot is unreal and the clay is real. Okay. But when can it be? Only when the clay is vivarta upadana karanam, meaning only when the pot is superimposition upon the clay. And if you can prove that the clay is vivarta upadana karanam, meaning it is a material cause that just appears as an effect without undergoing any change, then we would say that yes, knowing the pot as unreal and knowing the clay as real is fine, but you have not even proven to us that the clay is vivarta, or that clay is the vivarta upadana karanam. That clay is a material cause that appears as pot without undergoing any intrinsic change. This you have not even proven, and therefore how can you say that by knowing the mithyatvam of the pot, that's all that, mithyatvam of the effect, that's all that is needed to know. Na chetat idanim siddham, that it is not yet so far established that clay is vivarta upadana karanam. So this question is replied in the second line of the verse. Mrud rupasya aparityagat vivartatvam ghate sthitam. Look, when a pot is made from clay, mrid rupasya aparityagat. The mrid or the clay does not give up its nature. So clay does not undergo any real transformation. The clay remains as clay even when it appears as part. So mrid rupasya aparityagat. Swaswarupa aparityagena. Without giving up its own nature. Appearance as effect is called vivarta. Vivartatvam ghate sthitam. Therefore we say that clay is the vivarta upadana karanam with reference to the pot. Clay is the vivarta upadana karanam with reference to the pot. But that is to be established, and therefore the next one says here, Ghate mrudrupa parityaga bhavepi mrut parinamata ghatasya kim nasyat. You say that when a pot is created from the clay, that the clay does not give up its clayness. The clay remains what it is even in the pot also, which is okay. But still, why can't you say that a pot is a modification of clay? See, vivarta would mean pot is an appearance of clay. Why can't you say, the opponent asks, why can't you say that the clay undergoes a real transformation and becomes pot? So, in that case, it would be called parinami upadana karanam. Then clay would become that which undergoes a change. So why can't you say that the clay has undergone a change to become the pot? We say that the clay has not undergone any change, it just appears as a pot. This fellow asks us, why can't you say that the clay has undergone a change to become a pot? Why not? Because a lump of clay has to be transformed in some way, then alone you call it pot. So why can't you say that clay has undergone a change to become the pot? In which case clay would be parinami upadana karanam. And this question ends in verse 49. Pariname purvarupam tyaje tat kshira rupavat mrit suvarne nivartete ghatakundalayor nahi. Pariname purvarupam tyajet. Says, look, what is called parinama or transformation is when the substance gives up its earlier state and acquires a new state. Kshira rupavata. The example of parinama or transformation is the milk. The famous example that is given is how the curd is formed from milk. But milk gives up its nature altogether and gets transformed as curd. There is no more milk. Then you can say that this is parinami upadana karanam. This is the example of a material cause that undergoes transformation. Yatra kshirādau parināmah abhyupagamyate tatra kshirādi bhavasya pura rupasya tyāgah upalabhyate ityartha. That in such cases as milk, where it is generally accepted that milk undergoes a transformation, we find that when the milk becomes curd, that milk is no more available. Milk is gone, it has become curd. And in that case, we can call it parinama. So alright, but why can't you say that something similar also happens with reference to a pot and the clay and pot? Nanu vivarte pura rupa aparityagah ko drushtah. Alright, in case of vivarta, which are the examples? If the example of parinama is this kshira and the milk and the curd, what is the example of vivarta wherein the substance does not undergo any transformation and appears as effect? Which are those examples? Mrit suvarnayoho drishyate. Our example is standard. The clay pot or the gold ornament, these are standard examples of vivarta. Therefore the second line says, Mrit suvarne nivartete ghatakundalayor nahi. Ghatakundalayoho. Take the case of a pot or an ornament. Nishpannayoho api, even when you make a pot from the clay, or you make an ornament from the gold, mrut suvarne na nivartete. Tat karanabhuta mrut suvarna rupe na nivartete. We find that when you make a pot from the clay continues to persist in the pot. When you make an ornament from the gold continues to persist in the ornament also. When you make curd from the milk does not persist in the curd. But when you make an ornament, the gold persists. When you make a pot, the clay persists. And therefore we say that the clay or the gold in those examples have not given up their true their nature, and they completely appear in the effect also. This is quite well known. Therefore, the clay in the pot or the gold in the ornament are examples for vivarta, example of vivarta upadana karanam. Again a question says, no, nanu, ghatasya mrudvivartatvam anupapannam. Says, you say that the clay is the vivarta karanam for pot, anupapannam, that's not tenable. That doesn't sound right. Ghatanashe punaha mrudbhav adarsanad. Says, look, when a pot is broken, you don't see clay there. If you say that the clay has not changed at all to become the pot, then when you break the pot, what you find are the pieces. You don't find clay there. So how do you say that the clay persists, or how do you say a pot is a superimposition upon the clay? Because when you break the pot, what you find are the pieces and not the clay. Iti shankate. So this is the doubt, and that is answered in the next verse. घटे भग्नेन मृद्भावः घटे भग्नेन मृद्भावः कपालानामवेक्षणात् मैवं चूर्णेऽस्ति मृद्रूपम् स्वर्णरूपं त्वतिस्फुटम्. Question. Ghate bhagne na mrudbhavaha. As we said, ghate bhagne, when a pot is broken, na mrudbhavaha, we do not find clay there. Kapalanam avekshana. Why do you say the clay is not there? Because he has some idea about what the clay is, therefore he says clay is not there. In fact, it's not that the pot has to be broken for the clay to be there. Even when the pot is still, there is clay alone. But he has an idea that clay means something. I don't know, whatever idea he has. Therefore he says that when you break the pot, you don't see clay there. Why is it so? Kapalanam avekshana, because what we see there are the various, that's what kapala. The pieces, from which the pot is made is called kapala. So we find that when the pot is broken, there are only pieces. We don't see clay there. And the second line gives the answer to this question. Maevam, don't think so. That is not right. Kapalanam vinashe mrudbhavopalabdhi syad. Continue that process of destruction further. When you destroy the pot and when you find the pieces there, continue the process of destruction further. Kapalana vinashe. Suppose you keep on hitting those pieces, and keep on crushing them and breaking them. Ultimately what will happen? What you will find is powder, and that is clay. So, kapalana vinashe, when you break those pieces also, mrudbhavopalabdhi, then you can perceive that clay, and therefore don't say that the clay is not there when the pot is broken. Maevam churnayasti mridrupam. Because when these kapalas, the pieces are broken, then what you find is powder, and that is nothing but clay. And if you have some difficulty with reference to clay and the pot, we'll give you a simpler example. Swarna rupam tvatisputam. Take the example of gold and the ornament. That's simpler. What happens here is, although the example of the clay and the pot is given, in fact that after making the pot from the clay, they baked that pot. And therefore, it just doesn't appear to be raw clay. And at first, sometimes a problem can be there in our mind as to whether it is clay or some other substance. So when you break, you feel that it is not clay, it is only pieces. But take the case of gold and ornament, there will be no such problem. Because you don't have to bake the gold. You just mold, you melt the gold and then you pour it in the mold and you have the ornament. Therefore, mrut swarna rupam tvatisputam swarnetu etat chodyameva vakasham. As far as the gold and ornaments are concerned, this kind of doubt also will not arise in you, because in the ornament also gold is very clearly seen. So gold in the ornament is the illustration where without any doubt you can see that in the ornament also all there is gold, and gold is not, even in the pot also it is. But still, suppose it is not very clear to you with reference to pot, with reference to ornament, there is no question that it is gold alone. So 3 examples are there. One is the kshira and dadhi, the milk and curd. That's the example of parinama. Another 2 examples are clay and pot and gold and ornament. These are the 2 examples of vivarta. So you see, now the questions are asked just to make everything very clear, in case some little doubts are left. Nanu pariname drishtantatvena abhitanam kshirmrit swarnadinam madhye. So you have given us these various examples of milk and clay and the gold. Yadi mrit swarnayoho vivarta drishtantatvam angikriyate. If you say that the clay and the gold are the examples of vivarta, then why don't you say that even that milk and curd also is vivarta? Why not? Now the other way around. First you said, why don't you say that the clay and the pot is the example of parinama? But now when we show that, no, the pot and on the gold ornament, in that the substance persists, though they are vivarta. So he says, alright, if the clay and the pot, that is an example of vivarta, or the golden ornament is an example of vivarta, why don't you say that the milk and curd also is an example of vivarta? Tarhi tadvadeva kshirasyapi tathatum syadidashankyaha. So this ashanka, the question is answered in the verse 51. Kshiradau parinamostu punastadbhava varjanad etavata mridadinam drishtantatvam nahiyate. The answer is Kshiradau parinamahastu punaha tadbhava varjanat. Says, look, as far as the example of milk and curd is concerned, we say that it is a clear example of parinama or change or transformation, because punaha tadbhava varjanat, that milk completely gives up its milkness and then alone becomes a curd, and therefore it is an example where there is a change or transformation. From once the substance transforms from one state to another state. So it is an example of parinama. Tarhi, then alright. Then we say that the clay also undergoes change to become a pot, or the gold also undergoes a change because formerly clay was as lump and now it is in a different form, or the gold also was in a lump and now it is in the form of the ornament. So why can't you say that the clay also has undergone a change, or that gold has also undergone a change there is a change of state from the lump to this form. So why can't you say that is also parinama or modification? Why not the clay transforming into pot also be called parinama, modification? So etavata mridadinam tushtandatvam nahiyate. Tarhi kshiravadeva avasthantaram apadyamanayoho tayoho vivadustanda na bhavet. We say that the clay also has got changed into pot, And therefore, that also can be called parinama and not vivarta. So we say, no, etavata kshiradehe parinamitvena mridadinam suvarnadinam drishtandatvam vivarta drishtandabhava nahiyate nanashyati. He says, no, that is not called transformation because it is avasthantarapatti is there. Meaning that the clay which was in the form of a lump does appear now in another form. But as far as the substance clay is concerned, the same substance also persists in the pot. So the gold was like a lump and it is formed into an ornament, all right. But as far as the substance that was there in a lump, same substance also is found in the ornament, and therefore there is no change in essence. Even though there may be a change in form, there is no change in essence. Whereas, in case of milk and curd, there is even a change in essence. Milk is sweet, curd is sour. Milk is fluid, curd is, almost solid. And that being the case, there is a change in substance. Meaning the substance milk has given up its milkness and has acquired another state, namely the curdness. Whereas in case of the clay in the pot, the clay has not given up its clayness to become the pot, or the gold has not given up its goldness to become the ornament. And therefore, even though there is a change in form, there is no transformation as far as the nature is concerned, the essence is concerned, or the substance is concerned. There is no inherent change in the gold or the clay. The idea is Kshirasya pura rupa parityaga purassaram avasthandara prapti sadbhavat parinamitvam, as explained that since milk has given up its milkness, therefore we call it parinama. Mrut suvarnayostu avasthandarotpatti sadbhavevi. Even though the gold and the clay and the gold, even though they have undergone a change with reference to the shape is concerned, pura rupa parityaga abhavat vivartavi. Then since they have not given up the clayness or not given up the goldness, therefore it is an example of vivarta and not an example of parinama. Ultimately Vedantins will say everything is vivarta. Even milk also and curd, perhaps as milk it has undergone a change and become curd. But as molecules also there may be some change. But look at the atoms, of which the milk is made, you'll find the same atoms in curd, and therefore at that level there is no transformation. We would say that ultimately transformation may happen at a superficial level, but as far as the real substance is concerned, there is no transformation. And what's the real substance as far as milk is concerned? Asti bhati priyam. And what is curd? Asti bhati priyam. And therefore there is no transformation. So Vedantin says ultimate truth, that what is the real substance? You say the crystal is broken. What is broken? This is asti bhati priyam. There also is asti bhati priyam, which cannot break, which cannot change, which cannot be transformed. And therefore, even where, for the sake of discussion, we have accepted this milk getting transformed into curd, for the sake of discussion, just in order to clarify the concept of vivarta or superimposition. But ultimately we'll say that there is no real change anywhere. Whatever change is there is all appearance. Because the real milk itself is an appearance of Brahman, then curd is another appearance. What's the big deal? And therefore, as far as asti bhati priyam is concerned, there is no change. That will be the ultimate position of the Vedanta. But we are accepting, for the sake of discussion, the examples which are agreed upon by everybody. So, generally speaking, in the day-to-day transactions, it is accepted by everybody that milk undergoes a transformation to become curd, and therefore it is accepted as an example of parinama. But ultimately Vedantins do not accept parinama, they do not accept arambha, they only accept vivarta. Okay, I think that will be fine for tonight. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।